Here is a report on the matter for the Library of Congress. They have this interesting memo I found about the special Nazi laws in Germany. Let me quote, Article 130, Paragraph 4 of the Penal Code, under an amendment to the law that was adopted in 2005, prescribes that anyone who, quote, approves of, glorifies, or justifies the violent and despotic rule of the National Socialists, that's Nazis, in a way that disturbs the public peace in a manner that violates the dignity of the victims, will face a penalty of up to 3 years imprisonment. So literally just saying you approve of Hitler can land you in prison. You can say you approve of Stalin or Mao, both of whom killed more than Hitler did. You can say you approve of Osama bin Laden. That's all fine under the law in Germany. Just Hitler and the Nazis are bad. I mention that because here in Canada, Justin Trudeau and his cronies and the media party call their opponents Nazis all the time. Gerald Butts even ridiculously called me, a Jew, a Nazi. That's what they do. But they don't do that in Germany because of the historical reasons. Now, I mention all this because Christina Anderson has been on tour in Canada for a week, and she recently posed with photos with the aforementioned Leslyn Lewis and other MPs. And here is a liberal media party type tweeting about it. And he says, this was unwise. Pollievre is going to have a challenge keeping these MPs in line during an election campaign. Now, when I saw that, I thought this is obviously the media party trying to run interference for the Liberal Party, trying to get some misdirection going on. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at over there. I refer in particular to the Chinese Communist Party, which we are only now learning about the deep links between the Chinese Communist Party and the Liberal Party and how the Chinese Communist Party helped get liberals elected. And also in terms of anti-Semitism, claiming that Christine Anderson is anti-Semitic, well, that's a way of changing the channel from Leif Maroof, the die-hard, longtime anti-Semite that the liberals hired. But then I saw this in response to that media party tweet, and I didn't even believe it was real at first. This is by Brian Lilly, who says, Conservative leader Pierre Pollievre on the 3 Conservative MPs who met with European MEP Christine Anderson earlier this week. And it's a screenshot which says, Christine Anderson's views are vile and have no place in our politics. The MPs were not aware of this visiting member of the European Parliament's opinions, and they regret meeting with her. Frankly, it would be better if Anderson never visited Canada in the first place. She and her racist, hateful views are not welcome here. Someone asked, I do not know much about her, but could you please provide links to where she has been any type of hateful? And Brian Lilly replied, lots in this column, and he shows a column written by the liberal dirty trickster Warren Kinsella. Conservative MPs wrong to meet with German extremists. So you can see the pipeline here. Liberal war room, liberal dirty trickster Warren Kinsella gets Brian Lilly to go on the attack against Leslyn Lewis and others. Just a reminder, Warren Kinsella was paid by Aaron O'Toole to smear the People's Party of Canada as racist falsely. He's a paid lobbyist, paid dirty trickster. It's always odd to me that he's published in The Sun, given that he's working for other clients. He's not just a columnist. Now, I read through the whole Kinsella piece, and mainly it just quotes other left-wing activists, like the Southern Poverty Law Center. So it's just quoting other people calling her names, but they don't actually have any quotes from her that are racist or hateful, which is sort of weird because both the Pierre Pollievre statement and Brian Lilly claim that there's some proof. But there was one thing in Kinsella's column that bothered me. I'm Jewish. And he said about the Alternative for Deutschland, its party leaders have called Holocaust memorials shameful. They have dismissed the horrors perpetrated by the Nazi regime as bird shit. And I thought, oh no, is that true? Well, there was a link to the source of this, which I clicked on. And it was from Deutsche Welle, which is a large mainstream media in Germany. AfD chief downplays Nazi era as bird shit. That was the headline that Kinsella and Lilly, by extension, said, that the AfD claimed that the horrors perpetrated by the Nazis were bird shit, as in he was diminishing them. But here's what this AfD leader actually said. This was embedded in the Deutsche Welle story. You can see it for yourself. You tell me if Warren Kinsella and Brian Lilly are telling the truth. Hitler and the Nazis are just bird shit on the 1,000 years old successful German history, says AfD co-leader Gauland and Seebach. So he wasn't saying that the Holocaust and its horrors were bird shit. He wasn't diminishing them. He was saying that Hitler was shit. Hitler was a stain on German history. That's anti-Hitler. That's not pro-Hitler. He's saying it was a stain on Germany's otherwise noble history, which is obviously true. How is that possibly pro-Holocaust or anti-Semitic? Kinsella misquoted it. And that same AfD leader, and we're not talking about Christine Anderson here, this is years ago now, by the way, said that the Holocaust memorial was a shame. That's what Kinsella said. But no. He said it was a monument of shame. Yeah. Holocaust memorials are monuments of the shame of the Nazis. That's exactly right. It's true. It's almost like Kinsella is a partisan mud thrower hired to smear his opponents, like he did with the PPC. I'll just read a little bit more. Kinsella says there is much, much more about Anderson and her AfD online. Lewis, Carey, and Allison could have found it in a simple Google search, as this writer did. But actually, he hasn't shown anything other than two things he's twisted, has he? I read his article. He doesn't have anything there that he has a link to the liberal-funded anti-hate coalition. I clicked on that and I read it too. It's basically complaining that she's pro-trucker and that she dared to pose for a picture with Tamara Leach. That's pretty much it. That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism at rebelnewsplus.com.